Hello everybody, this is Woody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for all the people that took the time to watch that first video that I put out. As I said, I'm not a professional YouTuber or vlogger. This is my first, well now my second go around at this. I have just got off of work. I'm in my hotel room getting ready to relax, gonna have some coffee, drink some water, get ready to go to the gym. But I wanted to do this part two about my trip to Myrtle Beach and how I felt about it this year's Atlantic Beach Bike Week for 2026. As you know from the first video that you watched, the trip did not go as planned for me. Had some bumps and some snafus getting the bike home, etc., etc. You can watch the first video to figure out what happened there. Towards the middle end, I talk a little bit about me having to put my bike on a truck to take it home. I didn't like that. Now, other than that, this bike week was different for me. So the first thing I noticed about this bike week was the vibe was a little off for me. I think the vibe was off because I'm used to attending with a large group of friends. We usually get a large house. It's usually anywhere from 8 to 12 of us in a house, and we spend the week together, you know, riding, going to events, attending parties, and things of that nature. But what I really noticed that not having that this time, it was only a small group of three of us, including myself, that went down. That really changed the experience for me. Other than just being on the bike set, being in the community, one of the things that I really enjoy about Bike Week is the family environment. You know, we're all just laughing, joking, teasing each other. We have nearly every single meal together, which usually consists of the president of my club who loves to cook. She gets up, makes a big breakfast for everybody. We all eat together. And then in the evening, we'll all have a big dinner together. Sometimes we'll do like an Italian night. We'll do a Mexican night where we'll have tacos. We'll do a seafood night where we'll have shrimp and crab. She'll make shrimp and grits. We do, like I said, the big breakfast every single morning. So, and just sitting around the table, talking, spending time together, laughing, joking, and sharing a meal together is a really, really big part of why I enjoy Bike Week. And I don't think that I was gonna miss that aspect of it as much as I did. So that really kind of made me sad. I really missed a lot of my friends just being there. So that put a damper on it for me, if I'm being honest. The other thing that I noticed is I don't think this year's bike week was as well attended as it has been in the past. Now, I don't go every single year. I'm usually like every other year or every 2 years kind of girl. I think I did my first Black Bike Week. It was either in 2015 or 2016. And I think I've gone 4 or 5 times since then. But I noticed that this year, to me, again, this is my opinion, it was very, very subdued. I feel like there wasn't as many people there. There wasn't as many events on a day-to-day basis to choose from, and there just wasn't as many bikes as there normally are. So even when you're on Ocean Avenue, just, you know, you might be sitting on your porch or on the balcony just watching the bikes go past. I feel like there wasn't as many out in the street. And even on Kings Highway, sometimes if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, you have to wait like 5 minutes before you can say anything because there's so many bikes going up and down. And as a person who generally like really loves motorcycles, loves looking at them, loves hearing them, I love the artistry behind how people personalize their bikes. That was missing for me. Now, I did arrive on Wednesday night. I typically arrive on Sunday, do Sunday to Sunday. This time I did Wednesday to Saturday. But I feel like Thursday and Friday, you would see a lot of bikes out in the street, just a lot of people out being outside. And the weather was really nice. It was really hot. And I feel like that was missing. Again, this is what I saw as my opinion. That lack of So the lack of people there, perhaps, it might have seemed like there wasn't, to me, it seemed like there wasn't as many events, even just house parties to attend, little day parties and kickbacks that people have, you know, at their house. Um, So, in my opinion, that lack caused a bottlenecking at the events that were known that people were having. So then there was a lot of people at every single event, shoulder to shoulder. A lot of times there was issues like, parking the bikes. Obviously, people who were there in vehicles such as, regular cars, slingshots, etc., they were going to take up some of the space. It was just very, very congested, the events that I went to. Now, with that congestion and a lot of people being in one place at the same time, you would think that the socialization would be good. What I witnessed is a lot of people just standing around. I didn't really witness, a lot of personal interactions, people talking, people laughing, joking, people flirting, and you kind of need all that energy to make Bike Week what it is. I saw a lot of standing around, a lot of people just scrolling on their phones. Just, and to me, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up when, when you went out to dance, you went to an event, you left and you were sweaty. You didn't leave the same way that you arrived because you weren't scrolling on your phone. You were talking and interacting and walking around. And those interactions this year, for me, they were missing. I'm going to get heat for this, but I think some of that has to do with the fact that men and women don't interact the same as they used to interact. And I don't know if that's because of certain movements we've had lately, or if it's, a lot of this man versus woman, manosphere type of situation that's happening. But men and women socially do not interact the same. It's almost like they're frightened or wary of talking and interacting with each other. Now, that being said, especially as a woman, when we go on vacation or go on a trip, we go to hang out with our friends and talk shit with our friends, drink, you know, eat, laugh, commiserate, etc. But I think just like any yin and yang, you do need that male and that masculine and that feminine energy bouncing off each other at big social events. I mean, anybody who's watching this video that's an adult, I'm 46, so I've been outside for a long time doing stuff, and anybody that's around my age will tell you that it's very different now going out and being outside. And usually day parties are a really, really good vibe because everybody's chill, everybody's relaxed, everybody's well rested. It just makes for a different type of environment and a different type of energy, and for me that was lacking this year. What else? I definitely think a lot of the discourse and the conversation surrounding how Myrtle Beach proper, as well as just that whole area of the beach, North Atlantic, etc., how they don't cater to bikers, to us anyway, to bikers of color, to black bikers. I feel like as long as this event has been going on, there should be way more, things for us to do. There should be way more catering to us from, businesses that are there and restaurants that are there. And quite frankly, it's odd to me that after this entire time, you don't have a lot of the big manufacturers, we all know who they are, as well as people who make the aftermarket parts and accessories, coming to this event and setting up areas or opportunities for people to come and essentially spend money. And I have had situations where it was almost like surprising when you tell people that you ride a motorcycle, and especially that you ride a motorcycle that's expensive. And probably people watching my video know that, but maybe some people who might be, new to the channel or new to the bike community, black people actually do have money, and we have money to spend. And when we get a thing, we're going to customize a thing, we're going to do a thing special, and we're going to make it our own. And to do that, you have to spend money. So I mean, you could, anybody watching this again, you could offer a different perspective that I haven't thought about in the comments. I welcome that. But the fact that we are not given that, even afforded that opportunity, to me is weird. And it's not even a little insulting. It's a lot insulting, because this event has been happening. I mean, it has a long history. It's decades old. I apologize for not knowing my history, but I can't remember when Atlantic Beach Bike Fest became a thing, but I know for sure it's been well over 20 years. So that aspect really starts to bother me. A lot of people, including myself, have wondered out loud whether or not this event could be moved. Now, you don't want to move Black Bike Week because of the history and the clubs that started it and why it's there, because a lot of those um, OGs that started it, they're still alive, they're still there, so that's their event. But there might be another opportunity to have something else, and I think there is a lack of events up and down the East Coast that would cater to us more so in our sensibilities. Of course, you have Laconia, you have Roar at the Shore, you have Atlantic City Bike Week, you have different events, but if you wanted a large amount of people to show up at any of the other beach towns up and down the East Coast, it would kind of be a hard sell because, quite frankly, I don't think those towns have the infrastructure to support thousands and thousands of bikers. There's not enough hotels, there's not enough houses to rent, there's not enough restaurants, there's not enough bars, as far as I know. And again, I could be wrong, but I think it's worthwhile to think about giving people a different option. The other thing is, I'm a person, I like tradition, but I also like newness and I like opportunity as well. So there are other events that happen during this time period that I'm interested in attending. GQ from Rare Breed, he does um, Unleash the Peace and the Peace Army, his event in Slidell, Louisiana, and that's always Memorial Day weekend. I think he's been doing that now for 3 years, and that's an event that I really, really would like to attend. So that's on my radar. And also Tulsa um, is, I think, the first week of May. So if you decided you want to go to Tulsa and then also going to Myrtle Beach, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of time away from home in 1 month. So it is on my radar to attend some other events. I want Black people to have opportunities where we can feel comfortable and be around each other, while promoting the sport of motorcycling, especially I think in this political climate, that still continues to be important. Yes, everybody wants to be together. Yes, we're all united because we're all motorcyclists, but let's just keep it 100%. Let's keep it a buck. There are spaces that are cultural spaces, and there's nothing wrong with people wanting to be in their cultural spaces and feel comfortable. It's nothing wrong with people wanting to spend their money where they want to spend it. So that's just food for thought. um, I really wish we could get back collectively to having fun in different ways, and I don't know how you would have those different types of fun in the environment that we're in. There's a lot of things going on financially for people, which might have affected the reason why to me there wasn't a lot of people there. Everything is so expensive. Gone are the days where you could fill up your gas tank for $10. You know what I mean? Especially if you're on a long distance trip. I rode from New Jersey to South Carolina. I filled my tank up probably the equivalent of 4 times, and each time I filled the tank up, it was between 15 and $25, depending on what was happening and how much gas was in my tank. So, and you're talking about food, you're talking about lodging, everything has gone up. So it's a hard sell asking people to go to multiple events. So people really have to pick and choose. And when people are spending money, they want to have a good time. Um, so I am not done with Bike Week. I still have interest to go, particularly if I'm with my friends. But that's kind of where I'm going to draw the line. So this is not, and it's a lesson learned, right? So this is not an event that I would attend by myself, and this is not an event that I would attend probably with just me and 1 or 2 other people. I personally like the big group and being in that environment. The other thing that was lacking too in terms of that, even though you might come in a big group, you attend these events at people's homes that feel intimate, that feel like you could talk to people, that feel like you could get to know people. Did I talk to people at this bike week? Absolutely, because I'm a friendly person. I don't have any problem talking with people. I don't have any problem even going into a space by myself and getting to know people and interacting with people. I did attend the International Female Ride Day in Maryland some weeks ago. None of my friends were able to go, or none of my club members were able to go, and I attended that event by myself. Was I by myself? At the end of the day, no, you're not by yourself, because you're going to talk to people and interact with people, right? But it just puts, again, I can't reiterate this enough, it just puts a different spin on it when you're just with your people and you're in that family. And I think at this age, again, by the time you start getting 35, 40, whatever, it's relationships that you value. It's not necessarily being outside and running up and down the strip and going to this party and just, I've done the bike weeks where we were on the bike all day from 10 a.m. to probably like 10 o'clock at night, just all day, just going, 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 going. I don't think that the vast majority of people who are, in unk and auntie territory like I am, it's fun, but sometimes you just want to pull up a chair, post up on somebody's porch, have some drinks, drink some moonshine, drink water, drink whatever it is that you're drinking, have a little bite to eat, and just laugh and talk and commiserate. That's one of the things that I love absolutely most about this community, that you can do that. So my final thoughts that I'm going to share is that I think there's room for improvement with this event. Um, I'm still going to attend when I get the opportunity, if the opportunity feels right, because it is tradition, and I will get to see people down in Myrtle Beach that I might only get to see once a year or once every couple of years, because of just how life is. Many of us are deep into raising children, deep into our careers. We might be taking care of elderly parents. Some people might have physical ailments that they're trying to manage. Some people are trying to wind down their career to go into retirement. And then you have some people that have essentially, they might still be on the set in terms of like, wearing colors or being a member of a club. But, I have several friends and acquaintances that are just like, if it's not like a riding thing all day, I'm not here to socialize. I'm here to ride my motorcycle. And that's a valid opinion also. I am trying to mesh those two together. So I want to ride, become a better, more competent rider. I want to do some distance trips, but I also want the party and bullshit still at this time as well. So, lessons were learned at this Myrtle Beach. Lessons were learned by me to always have a plan B, C, and D when you're out with your motorcycle, which I did not have. Thankfully, my brothers, Invictus Street Riders, they were able to, help me figure out the situation with getting my bike on the truck. They put the bike on the truck for me. They took care of me. They made sure I was good. They made sure I was safe, because I was, like I said, I was down there without my club. So that was important. And if it wasn't for them, I'm not really sure what I would have done, quite frankly. So, you know, got to have that backup plan when you're out. And also manage your expectations. So, and partly the way that I feel about this bike week, that might have been an error on my part for not managing my expectations. Obviously, it wasn't going to be the same because I wasn't there with the same people that I would come with, so it was going to be a different feeling, a different sensibility overall. But would I do it again? Absolutely. So that's my take on it. Again, I appreciate new subscribers or people just taking the time to click and watch the videos that I put up so far. I do have some videos in the pipeline and some other topics I'm going to talk about, so I hope everybody stays tuned. This has been Woody, Wordy Woody. Thank you for watching.